What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with some hot topics, you guys. This is the week's hottest topics. This is number 53, and this is going to be for the week of September the 19th through September the 24th. Now, if you guys are noticing, the sun is going down, so we don't have a lot of time to get this done before the sun sets. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week, and I think what we're going to do first is get all the bad things out of the way, and then we'll just get into the entertainment gossip stuff that we want to talk about. So with that out the way, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not subscribed to the channel, then I need you guys to do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, hit the like button, share the video, do all of that for me. So with that out the way, let's talk about what's hot and what's trending this week, shall we? All right, you guys. So we got a few rest in peace that we got to do. Actually, we got 3 rest in peace for celebrities, and then we got 2 rest in peace for not so known people. But the first rest in peace we got to shout out is to AJ Johnson. You guys know him. He's most notably known for his role of Ezel the crackhead on Friday. He's also known for Lil Man on Players Club. He was what's her name? Oh God, the girl that was in Baps. He was in Baps. So at this point, the cause of death for AJ is unknown. Now I do know that there's a lot of issues going on the backside. I know his wife has made some, said some stuff. I didn't really read into that, because I don't want to bring anything negative to him. I just want to extend the rest in peace to him. So from what I've read, it looked like he's passed away a few weeks. It looked like he's passed away. It didn't look like he just passed away this past week. It looked like he passed away a few weeks ago, right? Now, I should have gotten this down, but I didn't. I forgot to do it right. I know he was married. I don't know if he had any children. I believe he was 54 years old, 53, 54. He was in that age range, so he's relatively young. So like I said, we got to say rest in peace to Mr. AJ Johnson. The next rest in peace we have is for Melvin Van Peebles. He passed away at the age of 89. I don't know the cause of his death either. When I was looking at his picture, I was like, wait a minute, I know exactly who that man is. Melvin, if you guys go back and watch Girlfriends, he played on Girlfriends for a brief period of time. He was a guy that Joan was sleeping with, older guy that she was sleeping with, and also he's been on All My Children. Those are the 2 things that I most know him for. So he's an actor, but he's much more than just an actor, right? He was an actor, he was a composer, he was a filmmaker, he was a playwright, and he was a novelist. He has, I believe, 3 children and a host of grandchildren, right? And like I said, he passed away at 89 years old, so rest in peace to him. And then also this other guy that I don't really know, because I didn't watch Sex and the City. I didn't watch that when I didn't get into that, so I don't really know his guy. But I believe his name is Willie Garson. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't really do too much research on him. I just wanted to say rest in peace to him. And so, yeah, rest in peace to those 3 people. AJ Johnson, Melvin Van Peebles, and Willie Garson. All right, you guys. So now we're gonna stick with sad stories, and we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys. So the next story. Now, before I even came out here to do this, because I had it in my notes when I was writing down what I wanted to talk about this week. So there's been this story that's been all over social media for about the last week. I noticed it last week, right? With the Gabby Petito, whatever. I don't know her last name, but that young lady that I think she went on an RV trip with her boyfriend or fiance, right? And she came up missing, right? So they were looking for her body. They weren't looking for her body. They were looking for her in particular. But I know that this week they did find her body, right? And I was scrolling through social media, right? And I noticed that Joyanne Reed, she was talking about, this missing white woman syndrome, right? And I didn't understand what she was talking about, but then I saw on the news this young black boy by the name of Jelani that he was missing, right? And from what I've heard, I think he's been missing since August 25th of last month, which is actually my best friend's birthday. So he's been missing for almost a month at this point, right? But with the news coverage, you have them speaking about Gabby, which there's nothing wrong with that. You want to find anyone that is missing. You want to exhaust every measure. You want to exhaust everything in your arsenal to find them, right? So I understand that. But it's a compare and contrast, right? Because you have this young white lady that's missing. And then I've also saw, I saw the footage of when the cops talk to them. It's a stark contrast between the way the cops talk to a white person versus the way the cops talk to a black person. It's very, very night and day, basically. And I also know that, because I was watching the news the other day, and they were talking about Gabby's boyfriend, who is now missing, but they are looking at him as a person of interest in her death, right? That would be fucked up, though, right? You go on this trip with her, but you go on this trip with her to kill her? Terrible. So, speaking of Jelani, right? I saw his mom. She was on the news, and she was talking about it, right? So, actually, before I even came out here, I was scrolling through Instagram, just looking to see what was on Instagram, and they found his body in I believe it was the Illinois River, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but man, that's just sad, right? And I think this young man was in graduate school. I was looking at his face, I'm like, he looks very familiar, like he looks like someone that I know, but I'm pretty positive I don't know him, but he just looks very familiar. Actually, you guys, so I want to say rest in peace to both Gabby and to Jelani. And with that, I'm not gonna continue to talk about those situations, but I do want to talk about something that is very serious, right? Because I wanted to make mention of this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it now. So, how do I want to start this? You guys remember, I told you guys that this past Sunday was my mother's birthday, right? So I was down with that, right? I was down. Thank you guys for all your, your thoughts and well wishes for me, right? Thank you so much. So here's the thing, something else happened this week, right? I don't even use Facebook like that, but something just told me to get on Facebook, right? So I got on Facebook, and I saw one of my friends from school. She was talking about her sister. And, she said she had got a call about her sister, right? So I didn't think anything else of it until later on that day I got back on Facebook, and come to find out her sister, which I know both of them, we went to high school together. Her sister is actually, Erica's a year younger than me. She's a class behind me. She graduated with my little cousin. So we were all in band together. Her sister and I, we both played the clarinet, so we were on the same line together. That's how she and I were really good friends. And then her little sister played the flute. And in band practice, her sister would sit right in front of me, and we would joke throughout band practice every day. The hell? Yeah, we would joke throughout band practice every day. So I'm saying this to say, my friend, her name is Erica Marshall. My friend, she passed away, today's Thursday, so my friend passed away on Tuesday. And I'm saying all of this because of, where we are in the world right now. People don't want to wear masks. People don't want to get vaccinated and things of that sort. But my friend, she passed away from pneumonia. And she got pneumonia because she had COVID. So I'm just saying that to say, COVID, this is the first instance of me losing someone that I actually knew to COVID or COVID related. Like, this is devastating because, like I said, she was a very, very good friend of mine. I loved her dearly. That was my girl. Loved me some Erica. Like, I'm gonna miss my friend. Really gonna miss her. But I'm saying all of that, you guys. I'm not coming out here to preach or anything like that. The thing that I just want to say is be careful out there, you guys. I say that every video. Just be careful. I'm not saying get the vaccine, right? I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just be careful, you guys. Continue to wear your mask. The masks, they do work, you guys. They work. If you guys look at the flu numbers, those numbers were down last year because we were all wearing masks. So I just want to say that. I just want to put that out there. Again, I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just saying be safe, you guys, because you could be here today and gone tomorrow. So we're going to move on. All right, guys. So the next thing that I want to discuss is the situation with the Haitians here in the U.S., right? So you guys know that Haiti experienced the earthquake, what was it, last week or the week before last, right? So some of the Haitians have left Haiti, right? They've come to the U.S. to seek asylum. Well, it hasn't been, it's just really interesting, right? When you think about the U.S., right? And I got to say what I'm thinking and what I feel, right? It's so interesting because there are so many different type of immigrant people here in the U.S. The U.S. is a melting pot of people, right? But you only see issues when it comes to immigration, when it comes to people from Mexico, black and brown people. That is the only time you really see a huge issue when it comes to immigration. But as far as, people who pass, white passing people who try to, come across the border illegally, you don't see as much hoop. You don't see, like with the people from Mexico in the cages last year. You don't see that with them, right? And then the situation with the Haitians at the border here in Texas. I love my state to death. I love being a Texan. I love Texas. This is my home. This is where my family is. Like, everything about me to my core is a Texan. That's who I am. You can't take that away from me. But when I see these images that are being plastered all over the news, it just makes me so disgusted with my state. And more specifically, I'm disgusted with the representation in my state. From our Governor Hot Wheels, Greg Abbott, to the other politicians, the likes of Ken Paxton, the likes of, here in my home, Louis Gohmert, the likes of, who else is there? Ted Cruz. Like, when you think about those specific disgusting ass individuals, it just repulses me to think that they don't represent who I am as a Texan. I don't think the way that they think. I don't believe in things the way that they believe in, right? Because you guys know that they've had the abortion thing. Well, currently, not Miami, but Florida is trying to do the same thing, which is inhumane, I think, right? How do you feel that a man can tell a woman what to do with her body, right? But back to the Haitians, right? So you guys know, like I said, they came over here to seek asylum. But here's the other thing that I have issue with, right? And I'm not saying this is wrong or right, but the way that they did the people from Iraq, right? They put some of those people on planes and brought them here. But the Haitians, you have, I think it's the border cops at the border with them, and when you see those still images, it looks like we are back in the 1800s, where the slave masters are on the horses whipping the slaves, just whipping them back into shape, right? And it's just disgusting, man. Like, something just really, President Biden, it's got to be something that you can do, right? Like, that's just inhumane. It's completely inhumane. Like I said before, we discussed what who did with the border kids, right? That was inhumane. And so is this. Something has got to be done. That's all I got to say, you guys. I'm going to get off of these dark subjects and we're going to move on. All right, you guys. So, congrats are in order. So, I believe the real returned to this week. I don't know, I said last week that it returned last week, but I believe The Real returned live this week with the women in studio, right? So the funny thing is, I'm wondering when did they shoot this? Because there was a video that Garcelle posted on Twitter last week, right, where she finally met Adrian, Jeannie, and Lonnie in person, right? Lonnie, I get Lonnie. Lonnie's like, it's COVID, girl. I ain't finna give you the hug. And Garcelle's like, okay, Lonnie, I'm gonna give Adrian and Jeannie a hug, right? So when Jeannie stood up in that video, you can't tell nothing about Jeannie being pregnant. So Jeannie revealed on The Real this week that she and her husband Jeezy, they're expecting their first child together, which congratulations go out to Jeannie and Jeezy, right? Now I did also hear that Jeannie said that, I don't even know if I heard Jeannie say it or if I just saw it on an entertainment news show, right? But I did hear that, before their wedding, Jeannie, no, she said it, or I may have heard it somewhere. But before the wedding, Jeannie was pregnant, but Jeannie had a miscarriage. So now Jeannie looks like she's well past her first trimester. I think Jeannie looks like she's probably well into her second, probably get ready to go into her third, and she looks so beautiful. So people have been talking about her ex-husband, Freddie, right? People have been talking about the fact that, she didn't have a kid with Freddie. And, okay, she didn't have a kid with Freddie. And I saw people saying that's, people were on, especially if I was on Facebook, the group that I'm in, people were coming down on Jeannie because she and Jeezy are having a baby. And they were like, but didn't she say that she didn't want to have kids? And that's the reason why she got a divorce. Well, yes, that she did say that she didn't want to have kids. And yes, her and Freddie did get divorced. But the thing is, people can change their minds, right? Maybe Jeannie knew deep in her heart that Freddie was not the person for, she married him. But maybe she knew deep down in her heart that Freddie was not the person for her, right? And maybe she knew that Freddie was not the person that she was meant to have children with. So I'm not going to sit here and crap on Jeannie. I'm not going to sit here and knock Jeannie for anything. Like, maybe Jeannie just said, hey, this ain't for he's not for me, and I definitely don't want kids with him. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't understand why people got so in their feelings about that, right? But I know people attacked Freddie because, remember, after Jeannie and Freddie divorced, the woman that he's with now, they have a baby. I think they have a little girl, right? So, Freddie, you should have kept your comment to yourself, right, about Jeannie, basically calling her trash. If you're so happy with the woman that you with now that you got a kid with, just when somebody mentions you on social media, just say, you know what, I'm happy for Jeannie. She said she don't, if she's at the point now where she wants to be a mother, congratulations, and I wish her and her husband nothing but the best. But to compare her to trash, that was disgusting. And you're trash, Freddie. You're trash. All right, you guys. So we're gonna move on. All right, you guys. Next up, let's talk about The Real. So since I'm talking about Jeannie and The Real, let's continue talking about The Real. So also on The Real, I think this actually happened yesterday, right? So the ladies of The Real did an exclusive interview with Jennifer. I don't know how you pronounce her last name. It's spelled Hough. So I'm thinking that's Ho. I could be wrong. So if you guys don't know who that young lady is, that is a young lady that is involved in this situation with Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty. That's the one that he sexually assaulted, right? And the reason why he has to register as a sex offender. And you guys know that when Kenneth and Nicki moved to LA, he failed to register, and he just pled guilty to that. So they were doing an exclusive interview with her, right? And I was thinking to myself, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, shit. Because y'all know I think Nicki Minaj has been on The Real before. I'm like, well, if y'all ever had hopes of having Nicki Minaj back on The Real ever again, the chances are very slim at this point, right? So with this interview, I don't think that we learned anything that was particularly new. Because I think she's basically said all that she's been saying, right? That Nicki Minaj and people in her camp have been reaching out to her, right? To basically get her to change what she said about, Kenneth Petty, right? Now, this is all alleged, so I don't know if this, so I'm going to say allegedly. But if this is true, I just have an issue with Nicki, right? Because if this is all in fact true, How can you as a woman sit here and try to coerce the victim to say that what happened to her didn't happen? And again, this is all alleged. So I'm not saying that this actually happened. This is alleged, right? You guys know that Jennifer said that, Nicki Minaj tried to have her and her family flown out. She tried to bribe her. Like, that's just disgusting to me, right? Like, the only thing that I get it. Nicki, you love who you love, right? And there's nothing wrong with loving who you love. And, everybody has a past. So I'm not judging Kenneth or anything like that. But all this stuff that's going on now is just it's negative on your image and your brand, right? Because now your wagon is hitched to him and you just look bad in the wake of everything, right? So that's just my 2 cents. Like, I've already spoken on this before, but I just like I said, we all have a past. I'm not judging the man. If you fucked up in your past and you've learned from it and you've grown from it, that's all you can ask for, right? Is to learn and to grow. But to try and to allegedly try and coerce the victim to change her story because you failed to register as a sex offender, it's disgusting, and it's very disgusting. But we're gonna move on. All right, guys, next up, let's talk about Wendy Williams, you guys. I'm not sure what is going on with Wendy. You guys remember last week we talked about Wendy and the fact that the show is on hiatus, right? That their premiere date was pushed back because Wendy had COVID, right? So then after I did my video last week, a lot of stuff has come out about Wendy, right? They said that Wendy was hospitalized, and she was under a psychiatric evaluation. I was like, wow, like what the hell is going on with Wendy Williams? I'm hoping and I'm praying that Wendy is not regressing back to the drugs, right? I'm just really hoping and praying that Wendy is not regressing, because it would just be terrible, right? But I then also did see where they said that Wendy, she's been drinking every day. She drinks on set, right? And that people now are enabling her. And I'm like, wow. And I'm gonna I'm gonna say this, and I don't want it to come off negative or anything of the sorts, right? But with Wendy, right? I'm hoping that, like I said before, I'm hoping that Wendy has not regressed back to her addict days, right? I'm really hoping for that, because that would be terrible, right? That you've been clean. Well, I know that a few seasons ago, she took a break, and she went to a sober living house, right? And I commend Wendy for being open and honest about being in a sober living house. But we never heard anything else about that after she and Kevin split up from each other, right? And I'm just hoping that them splitting up, because Wendy, she definitely plays it up that she's okay, she's fine, right? But that could be a facade, and that could be a front, just masking deep down the hurt. Because I know Wendy was hurt with all the shit that he did in the public eye, right? So I'm just hoping that Wendy is not regressing, and I'm hoping that with them and their divorce, that didn't trickle down and make her spiral back into a bottle or back onto drugs. And I'm just gonna say, from me, I just wish the best for Wendy, and I just want what is best for Wendy. And what is best for Wendy is to be healthy and happy. And we saw when she was doing Wendy in the City, where she was out in the city and having fun, living her life. But you know what? And also with that, Wendy in the City, I hope Wendy in the City wasn't dibbling and dabbing back into her old habits. But prayers up to Wendy Williams. Despite what people might think or feel about Wendy, I just want what is best for Wendy. So with that out the way, I guess we're going to move on I'm going to wrap up. All right, guys. Next up, who in the hell is Karen Civil? Her name, I've heard her name over the years many times, right? But I just don't know who the woman is. So if you guys want to get down in the comments, this probably won't be a lengthy subject, but I just want to know who the hell Karen Civil is. If you guys can tell me who Karen Civil is, get down in them comments and let me know. Again, like I said, because I've heard her name. I see her name on social media all the time. I just don't particularly know who the Karen Civil is. But so a whole lot of shit came out over the weekend about Karen Civil, right? So I saw that she got into, I know she had an issue with, there was a lot of shit with her and this guy named Joyner Lucas. I believe that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jason Lee and Jessie Woo. Now the thing with Jessie Woo, I don't particularly know the details about that one, so we're not going to speak on that one. But what we are going to speak on are her issues with Jason Lee and that Joyner guy. So the Joyner guy, he said that she took $60,000 from him. Basically, from sound like what he was saying is she took the money, basically being a fraud. I'm like, damn, because she was supposed to do so many things for him, but those things never came to fruition. You know, but you know what? Like I said, I don't know who Karen Civil is, right? But I've heard about this woman over the years. But the shit that I've heard about Karen Civil, I've never heard anything positive about her. I've never heard anything positive about Karen Civil. Like, I've just never, from my recollection, I've never heard one positive thing about Karen Civil ever. I don't think I've heard anything positive about this woman. I don't think so. But yeah, so then Jason Lee came out, right? And all this happened on Clubhouse. Now I'm not on Clubhouse, so I didn't. But I did hear the audio about Jason Lee. So I guess there was a story that he put on Hollywood Unlocked that she didn't like, right? So she got this guy. She was gonna pay him like $20,000, I believe. That's what Jason Lee said. And he was supposed to hack his stuff, his website, and get him kicked off of Instagram or something like that. And she went back on Clubhouse because I actually heard this where she admitted it. I'm like, well, she said there was no money exchanged, but she did admit to the hacking part. I'm like, well, girl, why would you say that on something that can be someone can screen record it? I'm like, that's a legal issue, baby girl, and I just would not have admitted to that on camera. I really wouldn't. So if anybody wants to work with her, proceed with caution, I would say. All right, you guys. So that's all I got for this week's Hot Topics. Let me know what you guys thought about each and every topic that we've discussed this week. Leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys later on for Life at the Lockup. All right, you guys. I'm off. Bye, guys.